Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Nau mai, haere mai, and greetings all. My name is Cheryl Adamson, and I'm the General Manager of the Parnell Business Association. Welcome to our first EcoBite interview of 2024. Our aim is to host short and sharp topical conversations in the eco space, 8 to 10 questions, one presenter released monthly. Last year, we had some wonderful guests, and today will be no exception. Part of our sustainability objective as the Business Association is to inspire change in practical ways. And when we began on this journey, one of the first companies in Parnell to take up the challenge was Europlan, a high-end commercial furniture supplier located on the Strand. Tony Moore, our guest for today, is the General Manager of Europlan, and their journey should be inspiring for all businesses as they demonstrate the step-by-step process they embarked upon. So I would now like to hand over to Josephine Rudkin-Binks, who's a board member of the Parnell Business Association and our sustainability champion, to formally introduce and interview Tony. Over to you, Joey.
Oh, kia ora. Thank you, Cheryl. So a few years ago when I was working at Toitu EnviroCare, I actually met Tony and Paul van Dorsten, the CEO of Europlan, who were interested in discovering a little bit more about sustainability and measuring carbon emissions for their business, in particular their supply chain. And so shortly after that, they embarked on the Toitu Carbon Reduce program. So it's awesome for me today to actually revisit the Europlan story and hear how that progress is getting on 4 years later. First, before I chat with Tony, I'll just give you a little bit of insight into Tony's bio. So Tony's been with Europlan for 19 years and has 35 years experience in manufacturing, logistics, procurement, and general management. Tony has worked in various industries in New Zealand and overseas, and his works included re-engineering businesses, leading strategic change and direction, and implementing these strategies. During this time, Tony has developed a passion for reducing waste and improving processes, and this has led to focusing on sustainability across Europlan's total business. Lately, Tony has led Europlan's wider environment, social and governance, ESG, policy, and procedure development, with a key focus on labour exploitation and modern slavery. As Europlan imports a number of high-value products, the ESG focus is particularly relevant and important in the current global environment. So kia ora and welcome, Tony. Tony, please, you're welcome. Please tell us a little bit more about yourself and your role at Europlan.
So yeah, as you said, it's a general manager. So 19 years, it's been a long struggle at times in terms of developing the business. But one of the things that Europlan's always done right from the early days when it ran a manufacturing plant and made things out of steel was focus on reducing waste and recycling, because steel obviously is very easy to recycle. And when you run a manufacturing business, the bottom line impact of waste is actually quite important, but often just overlooked. So we've always sort of tried to get better and do things differently. And then as technology developed and we look at different forms of packaging, or we started going, let's get rid of polystyrene, how do we get rid of plastic, starting to look at those sorts of things. So it's always been a challenge within the business. I think within our industry, with our clients, particularly government clients, they've also pushed very hard. We have to report now on the recyclability of packaging to the government property group, and I'm pleased to say that 100% of our packaging is recyclable. So we've done a lot of work along that line, but it's helped with clients driving it and demanding that we improve. And we've basically then also taken that process and of educating our people. So it's pointless us at sort of management level going, yeah, we're going to do all this, if the guy in the warehouse doesn't understand what you've got to do. And sometimes you've got to speak to them about, hey, it's going to take a bit of extra time to do this, or take a bit longer, but most people understand the bottom line impact in the wider sense of the environment and the impact we have as a business. So it's been a great time in my life, and we've still got a lot of challenges to go.
Brilliant. And you're absolutely right. You have to win hearts and minds in the process to really get change. So that's great to hear. I read that you developed a future plan for the business. So tell us a little bit more about that.
So yeah, we developed a thing called Future Fit 2030 last year, as part of our wider ESG focus, and it's also a challenge to industry in terms of doing things better. So there's 4 pillars in that, which is the carbon reduction, ethical and sustainable sourcing, respect for community and culture, and product certification. And we have objectives in that we're meant to achieve basically this year. I'm pleased to say we're actually ahead of the game. And one of the things we're now looking at is how do we report on that on an annual basis, and how do we then make the next objectives apparent and publicize those. So we're using that internally and externally, and we've been talking to a lot of clients and people in the A&D, architecture and design community, around what we're trying to achieve and sharing that knowledge. And for us, it's about sharing. It's saying, hey, we've done this because that was important to us. What have you done? How can we help each other out? We've started sharing with some of our suppliers in New Zealand our sustainable packaging that we've developed, and said, hey, we're pretty happy to share this with you guys. Here's where you get it. Here's what you do. So as much as we can in terms of improving the whole industry's approach to the wider ESG focus.
And how have you seen this materially change your business and others?
Well, obviously, one of the things is, as I mentioned, government clients. It's helped us win more jobs and get respect from them in terms of what we're doing. We're also seeing that we can, as educators, so we have actually educated government clients on what you can do with packaging and how you do things, which has been one of their focus points. But we've also started to work on modern slavery and labour exploitation. One of our clients is Meridian, who are very vocal on this area and have demanded of us that we start doing work in there, which we were already doing, I'm pleased to say. And we were able to use an Australian-based consultant who actually has been consulting to one of our suppliers for about 15 years. So again, that communal knowledge of who do you use, how do we get access to this information and this knowledge has been really important for us.
Right. And in your future fit plan, I read that you have a target to reduce your waste to landfill completely, so 100%. Obviously, furniture and things that you import often comes with some very bulky kind of packaging, so it must be creating quite a lot of challenge for you. So tell us a bit about how you're going to reduce the waste to landfill.
Well, our target actually is 0 waste to landfill in the month of March this year from our operations. So that's from our warehouses. Basically, it's behaviour change. So it's about making sure that you do separate the card and the plastic, you do recycle it. We've eliminated polystyrene in our packaging coming in from China. So we've gone to compressed card. We are in the process of starting to drive plastic out of that, because often plastic's put in just as in case it gets damaged, when we've proven it doesn't need to be there. So we're driving that, because again, it's not just recycling. It's don't create it in the first place if you don't need it. So really, the last 5%, if you like, is really down to behaviour of our team, our staff. It's when we got project guys delivering packaging back to us, it's making sure it's separated. We know what to do with it. But at the same time, we're also working with our suppliers to reduce the amount of packaging that goes in. So with our sit-to-stand desk, which would be our biggest selling product line, we've reduced the pack size by 18%, which reduces the amount of cardboard, also reduces your carbon footprint. So we're doing a lot of work around that to just find every little bit that we can go after. Some of it's easy, some of it takes a couple of years, but it's all worth doing it. And we learn a lot along the way in terms of the way packaging's working. We're starting to look at other forms of packaging. So we now do recyclable or reusable chair bags for our task chairs. We're actually sharing that with one of our New Zealand suppliers of chairs to go, do you guys want to use these bags? It would help us, because at the moment your chairs come and they look like a mummy and they're wrapped in so much plastic. So we're really starting to just go and look at different things and challenge ourselves, challenge our suppliers, and get them on board with what we're doing. And I must say, I think everyone's really keen to try something. You know, they grab an idea like that and say, yeah, we want to do it. So it's which is pleasing.
Yeah, and it's brilliant that you're sort of challenging those manufacturers that are providing all this packaging, because the chances are they're being asked by other companies, or they have other companies that they're supplying that have similar goals like yourselves. So, you know, that your challenging is making other people's challenges easier. You know,
well, I hope so. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Our biggest challenge with a Haworth dealer in New Zealand, they're a $1.5 billion US company. So the tail in New Zealand's wagging the dog saying, stop putting plastic on the chairs. We want you to stop. And of course, we expect that there's probably a number of other dealers in Asia Pacific that'll be going back with the same request. So yeah, we're kind of hoping that we can make some significant difference.
And what do you think holds people back? You know, a lot of this makes really good business sense as well as environmental sense, but what do you think does hold people back from acting?
I think often it's just a lack of knowledge. Like, where do I start? How do I do something? And that, you know, preempting the question you might ask me about, what would you advise people to do? It's fine, do some research, talk to someone and go, what simple thing could I do in my business? How could I start doing this? And also talk to your staff, because often you find there's people within your business have got ideas or are doing something in their personal life that you can actually bring into work. I mean, one example we use here is we measured the waste that comes out of our showroom going to landfill, and it's like 1.5 kilos a week of cardboard coffee cups. So we're going, use keep cups, use porcelain cups, you know, just stop using these things. Very simple step. And 1.5 kilos doesn't sound like a lot, but Toitu want us to measure it because it's part of our carbon footprint. So suddenly we were aware of, hey, here's something you guys can do. It's real simple.
As you say, that's 1.5 kilos a week from one business.
Yeah.
You know, even if we just put all the Parnell businesses, that's a significant amount.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
so.
right.
Yeah, and then obviously that you know you've written a plan, you've got challenges, but is there something in particular that's keeping you awake at night?
It's probably, I mean, I'm really comfortable with our Future Fit 2030, the first lot of objectives. It keeps me awake is what's the next lot? Because the first lot really were, yeah, some of them were hard, but they were low-hanging fruit compared to where we're going to need to go. So I think, you know, some of the things we will have to do on modern slavery to combat it is going to take a lot of work. And I think, you know, we're quite pleased that we've reduced our carbon by 35% in terms of tons per dollar revenue. We want to get it down by 50, but then after that, it's going to be really hard to go further without a technology change. So that's like hydrogen trucks or electric vehicles or something like that. So that's the thing that sort of keeps me awake. It's like out of my control, some of those things. So it's how are we going to get there? And, you know, we've got some pretty ambitious global targets if you look at 2030 or 2050, depending what you look at. But yeah, some of it's going to be hard.
And is there one particular company or organization that you think is really leading and addressing this?
Well, I mentioned Meridian because their new fit out in Wellington is meeting the Living Building Challenge, which is probably one of the toughest challenges in the world to hit. And as a supplier, we had to, you know, prove that our furniture fits with their standards. And they've also been pushing modern slavery, combating it. So yeah, I think they're leading the way, and obviously Meridian in terms of the generation of power and so forth. I know one of the architects we've got here, Unispace, they're really keen on what are you doing around your supply chain and modern slavery. So they're pushing us to do things better. So I think there's a number that are just, you know, in certain areas doing really, really well in terms of, you know, asking the hard questions and demanding that we show them what we're doing. And, you know, we're happy to do that and happy to share.
And if there were, you've already given one great tip, one good piece of advice for business, but any other nuggets of advice you'd say, Tony, over the 4 years that you've been doing this that you think other businesses might find useful?
Can't think of anything. I mean, they're happy to ring. We'll talk to anyone how we're doing it, and, you know, just share some ideas and throw things around over a cup of coffee, not in a recycled cup, of course. But.
Great, and we will share the Future Fit plan as
Thank
well
you.
as part of this, because I think that'll be very useful for people to look at what you're doing and what you intend to do. So yeah, it's been really great, wonderful progress in 4 years. It's very commendable. So well done for leading the charge, and thanks so much for your time today.
No problem.